organizations, revolutionary organizations that seek to take advantage when those people are harmed or killed. And that's what we're seeing today with groups mobilizing across the country.
The concern being well-funded groups pouring gasoline on hot-button issues to potentially tear us apart. John?
All right, Mike Emanuel. Thank you, Mike. Sandra?
You bet.
Okay, let's bring in Republican Louisiana Senator John Kennedy, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He joins us now. He's also the author of How to Test Negative for Stupid and Why Washington Never Will. Senator, always great to have you on the program. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
All right, so how do you respond to these calls from some on the left to defund ICE in the wake of this Minnesota shooting?
Look, I'm sorry this happened. I'm not going to rush to judge. Some people already have. Mayor Mamdani has already declared that the officer, the cop, is guilty of murder. Now, I know the mayor is one of the smartest guys on the planet. If you don't believe me, just ask him. But he wasn't there. We don't need people like Mayor Mamdani investigating this. We need people who are fair and who are impartial and who don't automatically believe that cops are a bigger problem than criminals. The police officer will be interviewed under oath. His record will be looked at. We already know more about the decedent. Apparently, she is part of a school in an organized effort to be trained as an ICE watcher or an ICE warrior. They're trained to disrupt ICE raids. There's reporting from credible sources that she had been doing that all day. Again, that'll all come out one way or the other. This much I do know. Two things. Look, these cops are arresting people, many of whom are gang members who are in our country illegally, and they're already scared. This is a tinderbox, and so if you put yourself in the middle of that tinderbox and start giving off sparks, bad things are going to happen. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened here. I just want the facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
But it's been my experience in life that not always, but usually, cops will leave you alone unless you do illegal stuff. But we're going to find out.
Yeah, we will. And obviously, this video is another piece of this investigation, a video that we've all had a chance to see now. Senator, a huge conversation is about to be had at the White House right now, and that could significantly involve and affect your state. After the capture of Maduro from Venezuela, President Trump is looking at opportunities with oil in Louisiana. It's an oil-rich country. He's meeting with oil executives at the White House. He's going to have a big discussion with them about opportunities there. What would you like to see happen coming from a very energy-important state like Louisiana?
Well, here's what I think has happened. Maduro is gone. Good riddance. The country, our country, has control of Venezuela economically. They get their money from selling oil, and we've got control of the oil, the shipping. So we've got leverage. Secretary Rubio told us in a classified setting, this isn't classified, he said it to the public, that the first step is stability, and I think that's where we are, is stability. He said the next step, these are my words, not his, it is to try to give the people of Venezuela the right to self-determination. And I hope that's the case. Oil is important. You know what's more important? Values. And I want Venezuela to be a friend of America, but I also want Venezuela to have the right to self-determination. And I believe that's what the president's going to do. I believe that's what Secretary Rubio's going to do. We can get a better price for the oil than Venezuela can, so in that respect we can help. But that oil doesn't belong to us. That's an asset that belongs to the people of Venezuela. I will say that our refineries in Louisiana are pretty damn good. We can refine the sour, sulfur-ridden oil that comes out of Venezuela, so we can help. But my ultimate goal here is to see human rights restored in Venezuela and let the people of Venezuela determine their own future. If they choose democracy, and I think they will, then that's their choice.
Yeah, a lot to watch for there, and that meeting is about to take place at the White House. We'll see what comes from that. Senator, always appreciate your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.